Birds eat the dragon fruits and poop out the seeds up on the limbs, and then the seeds sprout up there.
Aloha from Hawaii. Welcome back, you beautiful people, to the wonderful island of Kauai. In case you guys missed the last couple episodes, the girls and I flew from Oahu to Kauai and joined my aunt and her mom and Shay to explore the best of Kauai. The first day we headed out on the Mahaule coast on a catamaran tour. Absolutely epic, puked my guts out, but God, it was gorgeous. The second day we kayaked to Secret Falls. Third day we hiked over in the Hanakapi'ai State Park over on the north side of the Mahaule coast. Absolutely gorgeous. Today was the first day where my aunt and her mom flew home, so it was just the girls and I.
It's really beautiful in the morning. We always just ran off before the sun rose.
And again, we love my husband John. John is working, as is his life. The girls and I are going to do the Allerton and McBryde Gardens and the Waimea Canyon. Now, when we were doing research on what to do in Kauai when we were planning this trip, there were a lot of things that kept coming up. One, helicopter tour. We decided to do the catamaran tour instead, but you may want to do the helicopter tour if that's an option for you. And the other thing that kept coming up a lot, which is all over Instagram, super popular, is the mountain cave tubing. They can go down this natural, well, not natural, but it's from the old plantation days. It's an old irrigation system that you just lazy on down this river. Looks so awesome. And I was so tempted. We originally had reservations for that. But if I did that, because of the timing and reservation system, I wasn't gonna be able to really fit anything else into that day. And two, Haley can still be a little clingy at this age. And it's not really a bad thing when we are hiking. But if she's on her own tube and we're getting mixed up between other people, and I'm by myself, I just didn't think that she was quite ready for that. And every kid is slightly different. Take it or leave it. I decided to cancel that reservation and instead do the Allerton and McBryde Gardens. Now, there's a reason you guys don't see a lot of museum tours on this channel. My children are terrors. Mom. Being able to focus and hold attention while doing a museum tour. I think the last one that we really tried to do was the Missouri battleship, and my children just could not focus on what the tour guide was saying.
Riddle me this. How do trees get on the internet?
Video? Because people videoed it.
They log in. Ha ha ha.
But first off, if you're like me, you think that this right here is the Allerton and McBryde Gardens, and you would be wrong. That is actually where you park, the gift shop, and where you meet your guide and you hop on the bus. You can do this with no guide, but you still have to park there. You still have to get a ticket for that bus because you could not actually drive to the Allerton and McBryde Gardens, which is over here. All right, so don't try to drive there yourself. There's a gate, you're gonna get blocked. Denied.
This is the tiny pineapple.
Is that the tiny pineapple?
Yes. It's from archaeologists.
What?
Headed down there, and this garden, we started with the Allerton Garden and started going through it. It really was that beautiful.
There's a rare nesting of hawksbill turtle, a female major nest on the other side of that rocky hill on the beach. The rocky hill is called Pu'u o Kilauea, the fish spotter rock. And each time say Hawaiian is stationed on the rock to spot schools of fish. Here on the right, banyan tree roots streaming down the walls. This was blasted through in 1900 for the McBride Sugarcane Railroad track. Birds eat the dragon fruits and poop out the seeds up on the limbs, and then the seeds sprout up there. And all those roots hanging down, those are cactus roots.
we headed
The
down
red
here.
flowering
And so
trees.
far, so good. The girls seem to be quite interested in what we were doing. I don't know if that's just because they were tired from the last couple days, but they were focused.
Nowadays, these plants, if you ever want to see them, you normally have to go way up in the mountains.
China. Wow.
Guys, this cut open yesterday. You guys go out. You're supposed to see it.
One of the things that I regret not asking my guide, and maybe one of you guys know it, is like, what was indigenous to Hawaii prior to the Polynesians' arrival, right? Because in Hawaii, they work really hard to keep the environment and the ecosystem the same because, you know, some random bug can come in here and just destroy it, right? They're having difficulty with the elephant beetles. But technically, coconut trees are not indigenous. They're invasive because they were brought over by the Polynesians, like intentionally. But chickens, pigs, same kind of thing. So what is considered invasive versus indigenous, and what was here, right? Because Hawaii is pretty new geologically, young, grown out of the ocean. I'm very curious about that.
Come on, Helen.
It smells like rose flowers.
Take a photo.
My favorite thing was the spider flowers, and we got it to feed his dog.
Hold your hand flat. We become Antenna. She is a musky duck.
Still had the eggs there. Yeah. This is where Jurassic Park was filmed. Dun dun dun.
If you don't recognize those trees, I'll be shocked. Those trees are from the original Jurassic Park movie.
Got him.
Just sit in a room and never come out and play on your computer. I'm a hacker. That's what I said. You're a nerd. I am not a computer nerd. I prefer to be called a hacker.
God.
And I have to say, they are so massive in person. I don't know if you can tell, but that root is going up to our guide's hip. The root structure is at his hip. That's insane.
So the first Jurassic Park, one of the most famous scenes was filmed right here. In that scene, Dr. Grant was taking the grandchildren of Hammond through the forest. Hammond was Jurassic Park.
Had the eggs in that corner. We got it to take photos with the tree.
Haley, turn around. Look at me.
Movie nuts are really cool. They are the original tiki torch, where the oil inside of them would slowly burn. And so this is kind of where the original tiki torch comes from, which is pretty cool.
We're in a cow pasture. Watch out for cow poop.
So after climbing around and really enjoying the Allerton Gardens, we hopped back on our bus and drove over to the McBride Gardens. And the McBride Gardens, for scientific study, I would say, is what the McBride Gardens are. And we learned a lot as we were driving through it, but then we made it to where you go to the waterfalls. And so you get off the bus and you have to walk through this cow pasture with all these cows just hanging out, watch the cow patties, and you get to the waterfalls, which was pretty cool. That was probably the highlight of the McBride garden itself.
You see this?
Yeah, go ahead.
It dies. It dies when you touch it. It's the life of nature.
Fooled around with the slow-mo on the iPhone, walked back through the cow pasture, hopped on the bus, and finished the tour. And I have to say, it was well worth it. The girls and I did the best of the Allerton McBryde Garden tour, which is like 2 to 3 hours. I'll put the link down in the description. Just check it out if you guys want to. It was actually pretty cool. Again, you can do this without a guide, but I think you'll lose a lot of the value because he did a lot. There was a lot to learn, a lot to take in that he was explaining through the whole thing that I just cannot do justice.
Where they're not found is Antarctica.
The day was not over. We made it through. I'm so proud of the girls. But now it is off to Waimea Canyon. Now, Waimea Canyon has the claim that it is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, and that is a pretty tall claim in my opinion. The girls and I have been to the Grand Canyon when we were doing our van trip a couple of years ago, and so we were interested to see what this would look like.
All right, we're about to have a wow moment. You guys ready for a wow moment? Waimea Canyon.
Why is it going to be wild?
Oh, it's a wow moment is what they said. I don't know, do we go up here?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's gonna be wow. We're gonna say wow. That's what that means.
How you doing, Hal? Good. She said wild.
No, she said wow. It is so steep.
The Waimea Canyon, there's a couple ways you can experience this. One, you can do some really epic hikes. Hikes that are really long and they'll take you all the way to the Nepali coast from there. They'll show you the canyon, you can camp there. But if you want to just do the lookouts, it can be pretty epic. When we pulled up and there was a lady walking back and I was like, how was it? And she was like, oh, it's a wow moment.
I have to say, the gardens really, I feel like I underestimated it. We really enjoyed that garden tour. That was actually really cool. We learned a lot about Hawaii history, learned about food, learned about flower. Like it was really good. We did the Allerton and McBryde, the best of both tour, and it was about 2.5 hours long, and it was really good. And so we just swung over here to Waimea Canyon, and it's really just a lookout. There's really not much else to it, but it is very impressive what it is. But you have to drive pretty far out here. If you are coming to visit, it's like $10 per car and $5 per person which is pretty expensive. But since we are residents, we were free. So I really enjoyed it.
I really recommend that if you had the time to do some of the hikes, and the girls and I just didn't have the time that day. Because at this point, we are going to drive around and go to Hanakapi'ai Beach Park to go camping. We have reservations, and as a state resident, it was free. If you are not a state resident, I think it was like $3 a night. Really inexpensive to do this. And Hanakapi'ai Beach Park is where they filmed the opening shot of Indiana Jones, right? That is pretty darn cool. But we gotta make it there, and I have to say, the further we drove, because we went from the leeward side, the dry side of the island, and we're driving over to the rainy side of the island, right? So yesterday or last week's video, we were on the North Shore and it was just raining like crazy. We're kind of heading back that way. And the wind was just getting worse and worse the further we drove. So we're gonna see what happens.
Bathroom.
Campground.
In the next video, we are going to be blown off the beach.
Hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day. I know John did. I'll put some pictures on Instagram for you guys. Mahalo for watching.